Do you want me to wait when it's 4 minutes left? No, I mean
No.
1 minute left. No?
Stop me when it's 5, please.
Okay.
Okay. And ready. You know where this is? Approaching Hamden from Loma. Imagine you're a parent driving along, and your 7-year-old kid asks you, what do you say? There's the train, and the crane moves up and down, loads and loads. And then there's the cantilever crane. The crane shaped like the number 7. Those used to be in the port here in Vastrahamnen. Now they've all been taken down. The truss chopped down to pieces, recycled, reused. And now there's the cabin. The control rooms are left. So what do we do with these control rooms? Energy and resource was used to build them. Can we give them a new life? Close to where their previous lives were. Top-down approach, not grassroots research. We build it, and they will come. That's how we collaborate with our utilizers. In fact, our co-creation exercise is an experiment. We install these crane control rooms, unite them compositionally, but also through function. We give them lights, we give them sounds, controls. We get them to establish this conversation. And then we take a step back and we observe. Can we all agree that play is highly symbolic? When kids play, they simulate, they mimic something real. But there's a catch. Oftentimes when we play, we transition onto new realms. When kids play, many times they move from what is towards what can be. So let's play with this theme of the orange truss crane. This theme has actually become a leitmotif in the area. I'm sure you've noticed the turning torso is structurally a crane truss. let's use this symbol of height, of power to build. I'm going to show you some fun facts in my process photos. You see, this is the immigrant school
5 minutes.
building. You can actually see through, you can project light through the immigrant school building.
5 minutes we're up. Do you want to wrap up?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leave it.
Well,
Let's see the
what did
questions.
you want to say, Claes?
I'm just curious, that slide before,
Yeah?
the bicycle, how does that play a role in this project?
It's a simulation, a mimicry of something real. But kids have the capability to go beyond a toy car and imagine a cyclopod, a new kind of vehicle that has never been seen. That's where I see value in
In a
exploring these minds.
mood-born kind of way.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What else?
I think this is quite a cool idea, but I think you just need to like explain, like maybe it's not in your process, but you could probably or should probably make up a process sort of just to satisfy the to call it assignment part.
More of this,
Yeah,
the brief.
yeah. Yeah, maybe it just needs to be clearer, like with the target group and the reasoning behind it.
Well, to
'Cause I like
perfectly-
the this is top-down design.
Yeah.
Like it's a fun expression.
Because
but
I don't know
yeah.
precisely who the target group is. I'm experimenting with 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's a random number because the crane is shaped like a 7.
Yeah.
But just step back and see how people,
Yeah.
kids, work with it.
Yeah.
And then that will inform our revised brief.
Hmm.
This is just an experiment.
Yeah.
But even if you say it's a random number, there's still some thought about it that you are aiming towards. You said future generation, you are talking about kids, you're talking about imagination, playfulness. So I think it's a good idea to dig deeper into that to understand even more. Like Helena said, with the checking on 1177, how different ages, like how they function and what they, yeah, like their needs and stuff. Because I think that will help you move forward even more.
Kids' age groups. Yeah.
Yeah, to like research more about
Mhm.
what like they actually need or want, even if you do top down to
Yeah.
still do some research on that background.
Sure. Yes.
Could you explain a bit about the laser through the school building, the SFE?
Yeah. So this is the school building. You've noticed the glass facade in the center, which has a counterpart at the back. At the back, not only the staircase has another big glazed surface, but also these little square windows. You see here, I'm at the front of the building. I'm taking a photo through the building to the parking lot behind it. So there's this amazing opportunity to show that the building is see-through, put some lights through it, and of course we'll try to make it not dangerous. We'll project the lights at knee level or lower, so they don't disturb drivers on the road or blind people. Just something fun and safe.
Okay, I agree with the comment that for the course sake, you need to present a little bit about, I mean, the brief is there, but it's really hard to read. And especially when you are talking about something totally different, it's almost impossible for me to kind of get the information. Also the stakeholders, I mean, even if you have decided that you target around 7-year-old, again, there's a double user in that, because there's always a parent or an adult, not with them maybe, but mostly. And of course, I kind of need the story of this, because if we're going to talk a little bit about this, as you call it, top-down design, it provokes me quite a lot, because for me that's bad design. To be a designer and kind of shove things into reality is not a good design. But I also know that sometimes as a designer, you kind of need to force your thought a little bit to kind of make something new and special. As a example, I think it's Blåstation that makes this crinkly chairs. And
Wrinkly.
yeah, so it's wooden, but it's like, it looks a little bit like wrinkle or crinkled paper, yeah. I mean, that's, nobody ever asked for that. It was the company that wanted to make something unique and very, you know, still like in authentic, like in
Public spaces?
Sorry?
Public spaces?
Yeah, public spaces or like company places and so on, but it's something unique. And I mean, the idea was strange, and all the manufacturers said that this is not possible to make, but it did. It took a few years, but it was possible to make. So of course I know that sometimes you need to push as a designer to kind of move things forward. But to say that with your project, I don't think it's, you can use these cabins and have that as a starting point. But I would like you to open up, not to say how it's supposed to be done, but to kind of open up a little bit about, okay, I have the cabins, I have 7-year-olds, how shall I do this so it's as interesting as possible? And then you can add on all these things, because now you kind of only, I mean, if the point is just an experiment, you can put anything there. You could put a pile of I don't know, garbage and see what happens. So you kind of have to have some kind of thought about what you want to happen and elaborate with that, and also with the knowledge of, for instance, users, the space, and so on. And you are a little bit doing that, and I just want more of it.
So there is intuition used here, but also I'm stepping into the unknown. I'm trying to transition things, just like in your example with the chair, from the realm of what customers are used to the realm of what could be that has not been seen before. And I'm using it as a prototype, as a, it says here in the what, like the minimum viable product, while we were discussing with Stina, just to install something and use it as a tool to get the reaction from the users.
Yeah.
And that will inform your further development.
So what are you saying happening forward? Is that you're going to show them this idea and then they're going to react on it?
Yes. Yes. Where is it? MVP. First as a prototype.
Yeah.
Public response will inform future iterations.
Yeah.
But it will work from the start. So it will have those functions that they reunite them compositionally. Yeah, lights, sounds, triggers. Just like even this morning, I was cycling again towards Malmo, and the traffic lights, I noticed the green light for the cycle lane went green when I was even further away from it than I am from you. And then I noticed those two radars. There's the big one and the small one. So the radar saw me coming, sensed me coming, and it made my light green. Those kind of triggers could be used for this interactive experience.
Okay. What I'm afraid of is that people will say, yeah, that's great, but then it's gonna be a huge cost to put it up if it's reality. I mean, it costs millions to kind of make this be there, even if the cabins are free. Because it needs to be secured and, you know, the wiring and whatever needs to be done. So what I want it to be more design and less art installation. So I think it's interesting to kind of get the response, but also to have not just saying, yeah, that would be cool, or no, that wouldn't be cool, because that's you need to ask questions that's a little bit more open. I think that it would be like, what would you like this cabin to be possible to do? And maybe they say like, it's really, I would like it to be able to be climbing into it. Okay, so that's an important thing. Or they would say, I think it's really interesting with interaction, but I think that sound is bad and light is good. I mean, so you kind of get some kind of information of what more open, what they want, instead of giving them a solid solution, and they can't really say much, but yes and no. So I think that as long as you kind of ask them openly what they want and why with these cabins, I think that that's interesting to kind of move forward. But also, a little bit like, what's the aim? What instead of like, what is it? You talked a little bit like the turning torso, and I mean, so it's like, is it supposed to be like another spectacular place in Västra Hamnen, or is it just going to be like a fun place to stop, or is it? You see what I mean? What's the main?
Fun is the main word here. So this is for fun to stimulate creativity.
Mm?
But of course, it draws roots from history, cranes.
Yeah.
In the port, in the shipbuilding yard.
So then
There's also this structure. So there's this theme, this strong leitmotif of the truss. Yeah, the truss. This is also a truss, and it reunites stylistically everything into this truss leitmotif.
yeah, and so you can ask openly then, like, if we would use the truss and the cabins, and you want to do it as fun as possible for a 7-year-old, or what do you have?
Yeah,
What kind of age? Yeah, 7-year-old.
Yeah, thereabouts.
What would you like? And also that you kind of know what the 7-year-old mostly wants, so you don't assume that they are happy with
No.
stimulation.
How about this? What do you think? When I get responses, when I make the iterations, I shouldn't set them in stone. It should always remain as a flexible creation framework. Do you think?
I don't know. Maybe.
Capable to accept changes over time.
Maybe it is, but I mean, it could also. I mean, you can do so many things with these cabins. You have one or two ideas of how to do it, but if you open it up, it could be more. I mean, maybe it should be, if you cross-fertilize it with the painting, maybe it's that it's repainted in a festival every year.
Mm.
If you see what I mean, there's so many different ways of.
Graffiti festival.
Sorry?
Graffiti festival. There's
For
a bit of
instance,
graffiti.
I mean,
around
so
there.
it's like a graffiti place for young people,
Mm.
or it is like you put like really fun historical pieces inside it, so it's like a museum.
Mhm.
Or you see what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's so many ways of using it. So I would open up and elaborate a little bit more about how it could be used and how it kind of fits with the target group the most. And then maybe you end up with this idea that you have now, but I think it's going to change a little bit. And then if it's something that, I mean, if it's something that should like change with times, that you have these 3 crane cabins, and every year they kind of change into different things, then you have to talk a little bit about how that's done. Like, there's a person, employee 1 year to do this, or whatever, however it's worked. Because that's a system more than actually what's happening. And again, as I said to other people, that it would be good to have the users presented a little bit, like who they are. You talked a little bit about imagining being a parent and having the questions. I think that's good, but then it would be good also to say, imagine that you're 7, and blah blah, and then you kind of get this feeling of who the user is and what they want. And sometimes, like if it's a big group, and that's also to all of you, maybe you need a few users. Maybe it's timid Tim that is a little bit afraid about things, but he loves this place because of this and this. And then there is crazy someone that loves it because they can be creative and blah blah blah. There's no place that kind of gives them the possibility. So you kind of have different personas or stories about different parts of the users that kind of fulfills whatever they want. Yeah.
I think a tip for next presentation, like try to create a red line of the process, because I think it would be a bit easier to follow the process if you like start with the brief, why, what, how, where, and then the users, and then experimentation and your suggestions, so that we know the context and the research before. I think it would be easier to understand the experiment.
You want to have a clearer picture of my process.
Sorry?
You want a clearer picture
from
of
the
my
beginning.
process.
Yeah. So
I wish I had a clearer picture of my process. Yeah. Well, no, that's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I don't mistake, this is a little bit set up as a classic NABC pitch, right? Your presentation? No?
No, it's
You know
spontaneous.
NABC? No. It's a pitch presentation style.
Needs, what's
Need
A?
approach, competition, and NABC. No, so
Needs, approach.
I'll talk about it later, so I can explain. Yeah, but it's not that different from kind of like this kind of presentations for designers, but it's you don't talk that much about the process when you talk about NMBC. Then you tend to sell something, or you tend to argue about something, and I think that you could talk a little bit more about your process, as Matthew also mentioned.
Yes. I will pay more attention on what my process is and take notes.
Yeah, and also a little bit more. I mean, we have this checklist for the presentation, and I think that's a good idea to see. Do I have these things? Are they clear for the presentation? So you kind of double check that you have all the parts. And I need to check like for some things, but I think that there are, you didn't say much. Yeah, you talked a little bit about that you will do this iteration, that you will do it, but it wasn't clear. Is it full scale or is it
Yes, this is full scale.
So you're gonna
Prototype.
do it in full scale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A full scale prototype on minimum viable product.
Okay.
And it serves as a platform to get feedback from the users.
Okay. And then I think, I mean, if you're gonna put a cabin in a square, I think that that's really, really good. But I think that that's enough. Then you just see how people are interacting and what they would like it to do.
You think one in the beginning?
Yeah.
One cabin.
Yeah, because then you can kind of see what they feel is interesting.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you can say like, but imagine, and then you can have sketches. Imagine that there were three and they could talk to each other, or imagine there were three just on the square
Yeah.
and they could talk each other.
Actually, we were
Imagine
thinking
that.
of
So-
this more cautious approach with Gustav. He's speaking with Matthias, the stakeholder in the school for migrants. He's more willing to accept this, and then we were thinking we'll take one to him, put it in the parking lot, and start there. Start.
But that's not the space you're working with.
Yes.
No,
Both
yeah,
spaces.
that's true.
Aha, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it the
There's a
It is
that
part of it,
behind-
but
Yeah, yeah.
it's not exactly visible. I would like it to be in colorful story.
Mhm.
I don't want it behind the building.
Okay, but maybe you need to start there.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
cautious start.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
No, you didn't have a question.
No, I just said, because we spoke to Gustav yesterday, and he said it's very hard to put things on the square, but it's very possible to have things in the parking lot, because Vasakronan that owns the area are more open to have a workshop. So that's it.
Cautious approach.
Yes.
Thank you, Alphonse.
Problem, thank you.